The mayoral runoff election between Michael Hancock and Jamie Giellis intensified this week over debate moderators, negative ads, and press conferences. After refusing to participate in a debate moderated by someone who turns out works for Mayor Hancock, Giellis said in a news conference that the sexual harassment culture under Hancock is out of control. Meanwhile, the Hancock campaign released 2 different campaign ads criticizing Giellis that made a wide range of impact throughout the week. Patty, we were lamenting for the last several months, where's the juice in the mayor's race? Well, this week was a downpour. What did you make of the events that came out?
Well, 2 weeks ago I said I hoped we had a civil campaign, and then last week it didn't look like we were having one, and even as we were sitting here last Friday, it was getting worse when people found out that John Bailey from the Black Roundtable was actually on the Hancock payroll and was supposed to moderate a debate the next day that Jamie Giellis was going to. When that was revealed, Jamie Giellis pulled out of that and did a Facebook Live with Lisa Calderon and Penn Tate, so her group has stayed unified through this. But the negative ads came first from the Hancock administration, one about ICE, one about, I think it was the NAACP, and then Jamie Giellis doubled down. She was the one who she had the press conference on Tuesday to talk about these sex harassment issues and the settlements that had been made, not specifically about sex harassment charges, but things stemming from that, the Wayne McDonald case, Leslie Branch Weiss. So it has only gotten uglier, and we suspect as we speed through the next 10 days, will continue to get uglier and uglier. Jamie Giellis shows when she is cornered, she's actually a good arguer. I think she's gotten better in debates as she's been able to fight with Hancock, and he is certainly not pulling any punches.
And that he's not indeed. David, when you look at the 4 weeks of the runoff, it is a short-term campaign and momentum is precious. After seeing this last week, who do you think has the momentum?
Hancock is certainly behaving with the kind of vile desperation which suggests he doesn't think he has it. You know, one thing they do is they argue about which candidate developers like more, and that's one of those impossible riddles, like who is worse at golf, Dominic or Dave? And when the true answer is both. And I don't think all development is bad. Rhino is in a lot better shape than it's been in many decades, and there's more jobs and prosperity and a safer, better neighborhood. But Hancock's, I can't remember any candidate in my lifetime for mayor of Denver who's gone down such a nakedly race-baiting, lying path as Hancock did this week. He put out this ad saying that Giellis said that all undocumented immigrants are criminals, which is not true as a matter of law, and which she didn't say. She did say she would favor working with ICE to deport illegal aliens who are criminals, which you think would be a good thing for public safety. And Kyle Clark and Channel 9 did a truth test, said it was a flagrant lie, and it's also a drastic violation of Hancock's claim that he wouldn't do negative campaigning, and he says even this is negative campaigning, and it is not negative campaigning in his view, supposedly. And his excuse for it is, well, immigrants hear things differently from other people. So when she talks about that subset of immigrants who are criminals, according to Hancock, they think, oh, that automatically applies to all of us. That's another way in which he's disgustingly racist in his advertising.
Joey, what did you think about the ads? Because it, on one hand, felt to me like this is real politics. You're ready for a fight. It's bare-knuckled in the ring. But it also felt, seeing the different truth tests and the tone of them, that we weren't in Kansas anymore. We were certainly right into the gutter of a congressional or U.S. Senate race, which has no real worry about accuracy. Let's just play on some emotions. But what do you think?
Well, you know, this race sure hasn't been what we thought it was going to be about. You know, I thought this race was going to be about growth and development, and in the last week we've seen that it's really about gender and race. And I don't think either side is innocent, and either side has clean hands in the way this race has gotten dirty. You know, Giellis has done herself no favors. If she wins this thing, she'll win it despite herself and despite her campaign. You know, I think it was a miscalculation not to do at least some of the the debates that these minority groups were putting on, especially given the mistakes that she's made on not knowing what the NAACP stood for and having the tacos and lowriders event. So this thing's going to go down to the wire, but I think it's going to be Hancock. You know, people are going to, he's a professional politician, and I think in the end that the professionals are going to win this thing.
Natasha, what about the tone for a campaign in Denver? Because I get politics in 2019. It is not exactly a tea party right now. I guess probably tea party is the wrong word. It's probably not tea party, but you know what I mean. It's not a garden party. Maybe that's the appropriate phrase. But Denver, I don't think has seen a campaign like this for quite a while. I don't have the exact memories of how dirty maybe some of the web campaigns got in the early 90s, but I also don't think a lot of Coloradans, Denverites can remember back about how dirty those campaigns got. This seems like a different tone. How does this play in Denver?
I think it does have a different tone, and part of that is because Hickenlooper made a big push when he was running for mayor to have that clean campaign perspective and, oh, we all get along in Denver, this is about the policy and what else. So this does feel different. But the city is very different than in any of those administrations. You know, if we go back to Hickenlooper, but to Webb, to Pena and beyond. And actually that's something I wrote about on 5280.com this week, was looking at historical numbers and runoffs and to see if they gave us any clue on what's going to happen when ballots come in again. And granted, there's a lot of ifs, maybes, buts in there, but one of the things that I think is important is that Mayor Hancock, there's been a lot of headlines about how no incumbent mayor has faced a runoff since 95. But Mayor Hancock himself has had at least 2 other runoffs. And so if there's anyone in the Denver political world who knows what it's like to run a runoff campaign, it's Michael Hancock. He has that experience. So we'll see how Denver voters feel about this. There does seem to be a sense of like enough is enough. Can we get back to policy issues? Whether there's enough time to sort of turn those ships before those ballots are cast is what's going to be in question. But I think I think there are more than one voter in this city who would prefer to get back to some policy questions.